today on Rappler.
If indeed he made those charges, what I can say is that they are just other lanterns of lies. He says, these are lantern of lies, these are lantern of lies, as far as his statements are concerned, because these documents were delivered to me by the executive director of the AMLAC.
Ombudsman Conchita Carpio-Morales dismisses Chief Justice Renato Corona's charge that her testimony is a lantern of lies.
Mr. Senator, rather, I would not jeopardize my 40 years of government service. Spotless. I am immodest to say that by allowing myself to be a tool of anyone in order to get back at certain persons against whom that anyone is sore at. I will assure you that.
Morales says she will not throw away years of government service and a spotless record for any administration's political vendetta. And Foreign Affairs Secretary Albert Del Rosario is the richest cabinet member, while DepEd's brother Armin Luistro is the poorest. Hello, I'm Maria Ressa. Welcome to Rappler, your social news network. We promise uncompromised journalism that hopefully inspires smart conversations and ignites a thirst for change. The cross-examination of Ombudsman Conchita Carpio-Morales by the prosecution continues today.
May I invite the attention of the parties and, of course, the senator judges to what appears on the screen, to the miscellaneous accounts in the amount of 3,853,519.91 to bring a total of $12,155,350.86. Well, what I meant was that there were significant deposits and withdrawals on significant events. When I say events, I am referring to, let's say, 2004 election, 2007 election, and during the period onset of the impeachment proceedings.
Morales denies accusations made by Chief Justice Renato Corona Monday that her testimony was, quote, malicious and a lantern of lies.
The Chief Justice has been telling the media that the data information given to you by AMLAC is a hoax, it's a lantern of lies, it's phony. What can you say about that? No basis?
If indeed he made those charges, what I can say is that they are just other lanterns of lies. He says, these are lantern of lies, these are lantern of lies, as far as his statements are concerned, because these documents were delivered to me by the executive director of the AMLAC.
Who is the executive director of the AMLAC?
It was answered yesterday. It's Vic Aquino.
Vic Aquino.
Senator Judge Miriam Defensor Santiago grilled Ombudsman Morales about the purpose of the probe, noting that a case cannot be filed against the Chief Justice while the impeachment is ongoing.
Your sole purpose could only be to file a second complaint for impeachment after the one-year ban provided by law. Therefore, I'm asking you the question, do you intend, if in this first impeachment trial, the defendant is acquitted, do you intend to file a second impeachment complaint against him after the one-year ban?
Madam Senator, if the charges presently being investigated by the Office of the Ombudsman are not included in the impeachment charges, then I don't see any reason why there should be no chance to file another impeachment complaint.
I'm sorry, I don't get the question very correctly. The answer very correctly. Is your answer a yes or a no? Is that a yes? You are
for the purpose of filing
yes,
an impeachment complaint?
That's right.
If that is warranted after the investigation, conclusion of the investigation.
Yes, that is what the law says. For the purpose of filing a verified complaint for impeachment if warranted. If you think it is warranted, then your only purpose will be to file a second impeachment complaint. Isn't that so? Is that a fair question?
If it's warranted, we will.
All right, thank you. That is the only question.
After that reply, Senator Santiago gives this warning to Corona.
So we are placing the defendant on notice that even if this court acquits him, he can expect a second impeachment complaint by December this year. For that is what the law says. The ombudsman cannot investigate unless it is for the sole and only purpose of filing a verified complaint for impeachment if warranted. You are so warned.
Senator Judges grilled the ombudsman today over the powers of her office to go after erring officials of government. Miriam Defensor Santiago even accused Morales of fudging her answers when asked what justifies her move to directly go to AMLAC without first going to the courts.
Are you of the opinion, therefore, that should somebody file a complaint against any of us senators or members of the House, you can just go straight to AMLA and ask for our records without going to the court or without waiting for probable cause to be found by the council itself?
That would depend on the complaint, Your Honor.
Yes, of course, it will depend on the complaint, but suppose, hypothetically, that you find that the complaint is warranted. Is that your view, that you can just act on your own?
It would
sua
depend.
sponte?
It would depend on the nature of the complaint.
I
Your
know
Honor.
that, but suppose that after all your own internal procedures, and you have made a decision that the complaint is worthy of further consideration, is it your considered opinion that, as in this case, you can just go direct to AMLA and not follow the procedures in the AMLA law?
Your Honor, again, I said it would depend on the complaint.
Well, you're fudging your answer.
No,
Madam Witness.
you said it's. I said
You
if
are
it's
arguing with the Senator
I'm
Judge.
sorry, mea culpa.
I accept the apology.
Noted.
Senator Jinggoy Estrada didn't beat around the bush. He asks the ombudsman, will she use her powers to get back at critics of the Aquino administration?
Mangyari. Sana wag naman hong mangyari na balikan o gamitin yung Office of the Ombudsman o yung AMLAC para balikan yung mga critical o yung mga hindi sumasang-ayon sa kasulukuyang gobyerno. Can you assure us of that, Madam Ombudsman?
Mr. Senator, rather, I would not jeopardize my 40 years of government service spotless. I am immodest to say that by allowing myself to be a tool of anyone in order to get back at certain persons against whom that anyone is sore at. I will assure you that.
Kaya nga po ako hanga-hanga sa inyo, hindi na Ombudsman.
Marami po.
Ombudsman Morales also crosses swords with lead defense counsel Serafin Cuevas under redirect by the defense. Corona's counsel tries to discredit the ombudsman's credibility to testify on the 17-page AMLAC report.
I noticed the number of the different accounts. But it is not indicated in there the nature of the accounts. For instance, account number 8104. May we know the nature of that account? Is it a savings account, a current account, or time deposit, or what?
It's not indicated, Your Honor.
Now, could you now affirm under oath that the contents of the said report are accurate, correct, and in accordance with law?
Whether or
Based
not
on your
the
exam-
contents of that report is accurate, correct, or in accordance with law, I would not have any way of knowing.
I see. So that is
Because that was furnished to me
Yeah.
by the AMLA.
so that is beyond your comprehension.
What do you mean beyond my comprehension? I don't understand it.
Yes.
Beyond my competence, yes, but not beyond my comprehension.
Well, how did you understood?
Speaker Feliciano Belmonte Jr. says, quote, "The moment of truth is here. This is the end game." Belmonte is referring to the report submitted by the Ombudsman to the House on its probe on Corona's assets, including his dollar accounts. The House Speaker also expresses surprise over $705 transactions documented by the AMLAC. He says, quote, "There is a puzzle. What the heck are they doing with all those movement of money?" Belmonte adds he expects Corona to show up in court this week. Well, let's go over to the Senate, where our Rappler team has been reporting on the Corona trial for 38 days now. Ayi Makaraig is there live. Ayi, what struck you? What was important about today?
Well, Maria, beyond the merits of the case of the impeachment trial, a crucial question was raised in today's proceeding, which concerns the powers of the Ombudsman. What exactly is the role of the Ombudsman? We saw the senators and the defense team question Morales' probe. They say that it's something out of the ordinary. It hasn't really been done in the past. And Senator Alan Peter Cayetano was pointing out that in past Senate hearings, you would hear the AMLAC saying that they cannot divulge the bank records of public officials, or that the Ombudsman is not proactive in extracting this information out of the agency. But now we're seeing a different situation with Ombudsman Conchita Carpio-Morales. Here we have an ombudsman who is willing to exhaust all means to be able to investigate public officials. And this is important because the ombudsman, although not one of the prominent government agencies, is a crucial tool in battling graft and corruption and ensuring transparency and accountability. Lawyers we've talked to previously actually say that it is the ombudsman who has that primary role to examine the SAL and to check if government officials are honest in declaring their assets and liabilities. So it's really interesting to see how Ombudsman Morales is trying to redefine the roles of her office. And coming out from the experience that we've had, of course, with Ombudsman Merceditas Gutierrez, who many criticize as protecting former President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo and who was impeached for that charge, it's crucial seeing how the Ombudsman is now transitioning, so to speak, with the leadership of Ombudsman Morales. Maria?
Very good point, Ayi. What about tomorrow? What do we expect to happen then?
Tomorrow, we are expecting more lengthy testimonies, this time from the complainants. These are the people who filed petitions against Corona before Morales' office. We have Harvey Guia from Kaya Natin, former Akbayan Congresswoman Risa Ontiveros Baraquiel, and Emmanuel Chu Santos. Now, some senators have actually pointed out that there might no longer be a need to present these witnesses because the Ombudsman already gave a lengthy and exhaustive testimony on the findings of her office, and because the Ombudsman also pointed out that in their complaints, these individuals made no mention of the alleged $10 million of the Chief Justice. But the defense, as we heard earlier, is still insistent on presenting these witnesses. What we're expecting is that they would likely establish precisely that they had no personal knowledge of that alleged $10 million, and what they are claiming against the Chief Justice is just hearsay. Also, the defense might go into that line of questioning that wherein they will link these complainants to President Benigno Aquino III, pointing out, of course, the ties of Kaya Natin and Akbayan, which are allies, groups that have supported President Aquino, and we have former Congresswoman Baraquiel, who is being rumored to be a senatorial candidate in President Aquino's Liberal Party. So it's possible that they will establish all of these connections to build that so-called conspiracy plot, as they have tried to do in the case of Ombudsman Morales. But of course, we saw that the Ombudsman was able to field and answer all those questions. So another lengthy day tomorrow, but hopefully we would be able to hear soon from the Chief Justice himself. Maria?
Wonderful. So we'll see you again tomorrow, Ayi, day 39 at the Senate. Thank you very much, Ayi Makaraig at the Senate. With a net worth of over 657 million pesos, Foreign Affairs Secretary Albert Del Rosario remains the richest cabinet member of the Aquino administration. Del Rosario has no liabilities and is 31 million pesos richer in 2011 compared to 2010. Education Secretary Brother Armin Luistro is the poorest member of Aquino's cabinet with a net worth of over 739,000 pesos. Finance Secretary Cesar Purisima is the second richest cabinet official with a net worth of over 261 million pesos, followed by Tourism Secretary Mon Jimenez, Transportation Secretary Mar Rojas, and Trade Secretary Gregory Domingo. Joining Luistro in the bottom three of the Aquino cabinet in terms of net worth are Social Welfare Secretary Corazon Soliman and Labor Secretary Rosalinda Valdez. Well, now let's look at Rappler's Wrap for today, a list of the 10 most important events around the world you shouldn't miss. At number 5, fears over the euro increase as the possibility of a Greece exit and political uncertainty grows. Investors dumped European stocks, sold the bonds of Spain and Italy, and pushed the euro down after the collapse of weekend coalition talks in Greece. Fears of a market contagion are growing, but some good news. U.S. stock futures rose Tuesday night, Manila time. At number 6, China pulls out tourists and trade as conflict over the Scarborough Shoal continues. Entering the 5th week of a diplomatic standoff, China asked its tourists to avoid the Philippines, strands shipments of bananas at its shores, and bans fishing in the South China Sea. At number 7, a U.S. poll shows a majority of Americans support legal recognition of same-sex couples, though not necessarily through marriage, and that a significantly higher number of youth support full marriage rights for gay and lesbian couples. This comes after President Barack Obama supported same-sex marriage last week, dividing churches in the U.S. And at number 9, there's great anticipation for Facebook's coming IPO on Friday. Everyone seems to want a share, pushing the social network to raise its price range to $34 to $38 a share, giving a target valuation of up to $104 billion. Incredible for a company that didn't exist 8 years ago. For more, visit Rappler.com. Hackers tried to crash government websites from Sunday to Monday. The government's Information and Communication Technology Office, or ICTO, says several members of the Philippine Research, Education, and Government Network were the target of distributed denial of service, or DDoS, attacks. A DDoS attack overloads a server with requests for information until it crashes. Reports say the server was located in the U.S., but the ICTO says it may not have been caused by a U.S. citizen. The ICTO says the incident is under investigation in cooperation with overseas partners. Philippine-based sites have recently been targets of cyber attacks in the past few weeks. Most of these incidents have been connected to the ongoing dispute between the Philippines and China over Scarborough Shoal. Well, that's Rappler's Newscast for today, Tuesday, May 15th, 2012. Visit Rappler.com and watch our newscast Monday to Friday. Tell us how you feel on our mood meter. I'm Maria Ressa. As we say at Rappler, tomorrow begins today.